Hey guys, Cruxal. Welcome to episode 3 of my Silver Survival Guide. This is just a simple guide of things that you can change in your gameplay from day one, things unlike aim that you have to actually practice on. And it's going to be stuff that's going to help you get to that next level and get out of silver ranking, hopefully. What we're going to go over today is movement, which in my opinion, besides your peeking and crosshair placement, is probably the second most important thing that people get snagged up on. It's something not a lot of people look at this rank, and I think that really hinders them, because if you can master your movement and make sure that you are getting in better engagements because of it, it'll help you rank up much quicker and get the competitive edge on your enemies. So the reason I think movement carries so much weight in lower ranks like this is because it eases up every engagement you have against the enemy. If your movement is going to be one step ahead of theirs, it's going to make it that much easier to close the frag on them. The second thing it helps with is fast map maneuvering. Obviously, you're going to be able to get from point A to point B a lot quicker than your teammates and enemies at the same time. And you're going to be able to get out of more tricky situations by having good movement. Maybe battles that you weren't supposed to win or that you just can't close the frag on, you're going to be able to escape more often instead of getting fragged and not getting traded by your shit teammates. And finally, it's going to make you a lot harder to hit, which in any rank, especially silver where the aim is so abysmal, that's going to help you a lot in a lot of battles. If your teammate's going to be whiffing every shot trying to keep up with your movement, it's going to give you that much more time to shoot them down and fuck them up. Up first, we're going to expand on something I mentioned quite a few times before, and that is counter-strafing. This is one of the main things you're going to need to know in order to have masterful movement in this game. And it basically means hitting the opposite key of your current walking key. So as you can see here, instead of just walking and strafing back and forth and shooting, I'm hitting the opposite key right before I shoot, which resets my inaccuracy of the gun, and my shots actually go to where I'm aiming, which is really nice. What you're obviously going to want if you actually want to be hitting headshots. It works running forward as well. Just tap back if you're running forward, or tap forward if you're running back, vice versa. As you can see, it's much cleaner than just running back and forth mindlessly. Keep in mind the timings are a little bit different between the weapons in the game, and it does take a bit of practice to really master, but it is something you should be knowing to do. Also, when it comes to movement, the one big mistake, Vu actually has an amazing video on this. If you don't subscribe to him already, check it out, but is hitting multiple keys at the same time. For example, when I'm cornering here, I was just hitting W and D, which is really bad. So to counter-strafe that, I would have had to hit A and S, which is really awkward for your hand to do. So try to only focus on hitting one key at a time when you're strafing around corners. That'll sometimes lead you to have sort of robotic looking movement, but it does help to be able to get those quick counter-strafes and be able to hit your target quickly without having to stop your movement pretty much. Alright, now we're going to go over the epidemic of silver, which is abusing crouch. You fucking idiots. Honestly, crouch peek everything, and there's no need. If you really want to crouch when you peek, do it as you're peeking, instead of crouching like so and peeking out super slow, because even at silver, when their reaction times are slower than a sloth, you're gonna get dicked on every time. Also, when you're crouching, don't abuse it like this, because as you can see, your player gets really fatigued and your up and down starts to go really slow. Your key when you're, especially when rifling against someone, is to stay super nimble and unpredictable. So as you can see here, I'm alternating between counter-strafes, kind of crouching here and then, and it really is a good way to counteract some bad aim if you have it. So up next, I'm going to really quick gloss over this new jump bug that everyone's bugging out about, even though it's been in the game for fucking eons, honestly, since release. Basically what it is you crouch and uncrouch in midair, and you can see more information over whatever ledge you're jumping over, as well as you're completely silent against the enemy. You can also do this when falling off small ledges to not make any noise. Really nice for jumping down off boxes in Dust 2, stuff like that. The next huge aspect to having good movement is your spatial awareness. This is in many situations something that can bite someone in the ass. So, for example, when you're out and you overextend and you overcommitted to firefights, which will happen, honestly, at any rank, you have to know where your closest form of cover is, as well as being able to navigate the map when you're not looking at things, such as not running into things and walking through doorways flawlessly while going backwards. A lot of this comes purely from just playing maps over and over and having muscle memory, but as you're walking through the map, be conscious of where you're at and your surroundings, and it'll help a lot when learning this stuff. And as I just mentioned, in every firefight, or really any time on the map, make sure you're conscious of where your closest cover is so that you can dive to that if you end up trying to not lose a firefight. I'm going to touch briefly on shoulder peeks in order to bait op shots, or any shot for that matter. A lot of people over peek like this and try to get a visual on the enemy. Instead, just barely peek with your arm like this and it'll usually bait out a shot, and that way you can trade it super quickly. Keep in mind, your player model goes past your camera. And as I mentioned before, KZ, B-Hop, and Surf are 3 game modes you should definitely be utilizing when trying to master your movement. They can all be found through the server browser, and each one of the game modes has their own ways of kind of helping you out and learning your movement. And they're all 3, in my opinion, really fun to practice and get really good at. So make sure you're utilizing that, you guys, in your free time. If you're getting pissed off at matchmaking, just give these a try and you'll definitely help out your movement. Each one of the game modes can be applicable in game as well. There's a bunch of Surf, B-Hop, and KZ only spots that you can only get to if you really know how to air strafe. and control your body in air. A lot of these things are really advantageous to get across the map quickly or get to spots you wouldn't usually be able to get to by yourself. So yeah, hopefully some of you lower tier cucks learn a thing or two about movement from this video. Thanks for watching.
Why you be turn up camping, bitch, I'm psyched. Ayy, planted too late to the few me, your shit already